So, what is the premise?
I just found out about the 2024 election results, and now we're going to look back on how things could have been different with a laser-sharp focus on strategy and analytics.
How do you get your information?
The internet, of course, and verified news sources, paid information platforms like Crunchbase and Hype Auditor, and a lot of Googling in the right places.
What is your credibility? How often will you post? And will you show your face at all?
My credibility, I worked for 3 multi-billion-dollar corporations in strategy, finance, and analytics. My face, I'm still trying to figure out what to do with that, show it or not. I don't really care either way, but it's my first video, so I'm just doing this because it's easier. And posting schedule is going to be completely up to how much I get done. So hopefully it'll be a lot more coming soon.
This is a Senate race, but to be a part of the process, you have to understand why.
Welcome to the future. This is our world now. Many things can be said about the 2024 elections, besides that people are tired of hearing about it. The critiques and opinions range from the Democrats not having a competitive primary, Biden should have stepped down sooner, or should not have stepped down at all. Also, Trump's near-death experiences and his McDonald's and Joe Rogan podcast appearances made him seem more appealing. The influence of shadow money and billionaires also stirred opinions, and how the fundraised money was spent, and to a lesser extent, people in swing states rejecting big city politics. But there are so many other takeaways. The first trans congresswoman was elected. 2 black women are serving in the U.S. Senate at the same time for the first time in U.S. history. Many swing states like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nevada voted in women senators despite the popular votes there going to Trump. The enshrining of abortion rights happened in many states like Missouri, Arizona, and Maryland. And in Iowa, they voted to allow 17-year-olds to vote in primaries. And many states passed citizenship requirements to vote despite that already being the law in the constitutional amendments. And Missouri and Alaska increased both minimum wage and paid sick leave.
So what's your point here, bro?
But this analysis is not about the candidates or these opinions, but rather the strategies taken and what lessons can be used for future election campaigns. Your entrance will be your legacy. Make it count. It's hard to get and or maintain people's attention with politics, which is why you need a great hook or strong media-savvy candidates, which leads to analysis point number 1. Media-savvy candidates do better, or media-savvy campaigns do better. Now, the money spent on the 2024 election campaigns totaled $11 billion across all campaigns, not just the presidential ones. Trump's organic reach, however, cannot be understated in all this. It's his 3rd straight presidential campaign, and his years of pop culture relevance have helped him to not need to focus on the awareness, interest, or consideration phases of the marketing funnel, because he is the better known person compared to Kamala Harris. I found a YouTube channel that posted all Trump and Harris campaign ads for 2024. The strategy overall for both was very standard. Mostly attack ads, upselling positions, hype videos with a soundtrack. Other spending came on public events with celebrities, money to grassroots outreach, and eye-catching PR moves. But money matters, like how the 2012 Obama campaign debt led to a slow start for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and given that Kamala Harris had 4.5 months to campaign and she raised $1 billion in just her first 2 months, that's not bad money. Now, according to an article from Search Engine Land sourced from FEC filings, Harris outspent Trump by $460 million in ads. That's on places like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and streaming services. Harris spent $993 million, whereas Trump spent $420 million by election day. But like the article says, it's not just spending more to reach more anymore, but how that spend functions in the overall roadmap of your marketing campaign and strategies. Customizing your segmentations, packaging your messaging, targeting, and understanding that we live in a mature digital landscape where the audience on apps and online know the difference between good, bad, or boring ad placements. This section is suggested strategy. This is the part of the video where I have my proposed strategies. I just described the topic, which is the 2024 elections. I'm now going to use the Kamala Harris campaign as the example for this proposed strategy, but this can be utilized for any elected official's campaign or any political campaign. Suggested strategy 1, messaging. This is going to range from the most practical to the least practical in 4 parts. Part 1, from the start of the Kamala Harris campaign, the content team should have made a video that saw her answering the top 5 hardest questions against her in a non-staged manner. And then the content should have been packaged and promoted everywhere the first 2 weeks of the campaign. It shows directness, courage, and preparedness. Then the next set of ads should have focused on advancing and defending the policy and positions from that initial video. Then, finally, a month out from election day, there should have been an authenticity push to leverage the consistent messaging from that original video. Another example of messaging opportunity was Kamala Harris's opportunity agenda for black men that was very well received. It should have been repeated and expanded for other groups, women, black women, Latinos, Asians, white, and young people, giving people the impression that this candidate sees them. Suggestion Part 3, a local partner program, something I made up for this video. The Kamala Harris campaign could have partnered with a senator, a House of Rep, or some other local jurisdiction in a few key states to bring a quality of life improvement on that local area. It could have been co-packaged and co-messaged as policy platforms along with the opportunity agendas. Suggestion Part 4. Kamala Harris should have gone on the Joe Rogan podcast, and together with Donald Trump, they could have done a mini debate there. It's an example of authenticity and courage. Now, this is the least practical suggestion, but the popularity of that podcast and the content potential was huge and could have been taken advantage of. This was a brief overview of the strategies behind the 2024 election campaigns. However, running for elected office is officially a mega project, taking massive capital, time, and expertise to successfully run. Over $11 billion were spent on the elections in 2024. And as the spectacle grows, campaign strategists would do well to put as many things in their favor as possible, since it is and always has been a game of inches. Other key takeaways: recognition should not be underestimated. Authenticity is the bridge to success. Content matters, and how it is dispersed is even more important. And having the right person you can establish an audience around is key. I want to end with a couple lines from an interview I was able to have with an election judge for Prince George's County. I believe the current disconnect is that people are not able to directly hear from those who work hard to make sure our elections are not chaotic and that our democracy functions.
Long story short, finished high school, went to college, got a journalism degree. I retired in 2020. So with the election, it was literally like getting a jury duty notification. The midterms in 2022.
Your first time was 2022 midterm elections. Wow.
Every time I work in an election, I learned something. I saw parents in Bowie, Maryland, bringing their kids. I felt really honored to be, having this experience. And I also wanted to learn as much as I possibly could, because I just wanted to do a good job as an election judge. Part of my job was just to really make people feel that they were glad they came. Congratulate the 18-year-olds. I was in charge of the voting machine. We only had 2. People would complain too about managing expectations, but making sure people understand clearly what's involved, and also making sure they're in and out quickly. And thank you so much. I'd get there at 6 o'clock in the morning. There was already a line at 6:15.
Wow.
By the end of the 2 days, 15,000 people had voted. One site. Yeah, no. I will be doing this until, Another thing is, you have to be physically fit. I was so shocked at the Maryland primary. The turnout was so low. And I tell people, this is a Senate race, but to be a part of the process, you have to understand why. Now in 2025, for the next 4 years, to really cultivate and develop a sense of hope and optimism, and that we can keep our eyes open and keep them in check. Because again, as long as we decide to tune out and put our head in the sand, they're going to run amok.